We are going to try this one more time. Every morning that I do this, I have the same problem. Welcome to Rebel Morning Wood. I am your host, IRGRL. I like to say the hostess with the mostest. But then there may be other hosts out there that have more than me. I don't know. Have yet to meet them. Um, I see a couple people have joined me in chat. Thank you for joining. If you have questions, want to talk about something, let me know. There's a lot of news. We're going to start with Walking Dead last night. We did have our Rebel uh, Dead Zombie Apocalypse show last night. We did about a 30-minute stint right after the show, discussed the show, trying to get us back on track from where we left off last year. And it was a surprising show. So make sure you're joining us on Sunday nights because we will be rehashing what we all just watched with The Walking Dead. As well, sadly, this morning, Epic Games is shutting down its Baltimore studio. For any of you that know in the game series Infinity Blades for Apple, they were working on Infinity Blade Dungeons, and I think I had done a few press releases for that. And they seem to have been thwarted with the recent leaving of Cliffy B and Mike Capps. So it was, I guess that was a tough one to come back from. But they're letting, I guess the creative team there, they're letting them, I think, have a chance to basically buy the name and do it themselves. So good luck to them. It seems like lately all we hear about are studios being shut down, you know, going into bankruptcy and games not being made anymore. So it's sad. Also, as well, if anybody has heard any news on Darksiders, I'm still waiting. If not sure, I search every day to see if somebody has picked up Darksiders, and hopefully that game gets picked up. I was reading. Let me see. Trying to see here. There was some pretty good gaming news today, and I wanted to. Well, you know what? I'm gonna admit it's all Black Ops 2, because I think Hastro did an interview about how E-games and Treyarch kind of had the hold on the industry with that, and I wasn't able to read it yet this morning, but I will probably discuss it tomorrow morning. Um, Something I did want to talk about this morning is everybody's thoughts on, and even if you don't live in the States, you can pipe in on how ridiculous this sounds to you. Um, Newton lawmaker proposes sin tax on violent video games. This is a true story. Um, I'm trying to skim through it. I did skim through it this morning. I'm trying to skim through it uh, a bit more. Um, it says one Connecticut lawmaker, I guess that this writer went to a gun control meeting or whatever, and basically everybody was piping in on how guns in video games were to blame. And basically it says one Connecticut lawmaker thinks she has the answer. State Representative Deborah Lee Hovey, whose district includes parts of Newton, has proposed a tax on violent video games. Her legislation proposed bill, blah, 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 there's just a bunch of numbers, whatever, would impose a 10% sales tax on the sale of video games rated mature. The proceeds from the tax would be used by the Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services for the purpose of developing informational materials to educate families on the warning signs of video game addiction and antisocial behavior. Um, Hovey has referred to it as a sin tax. I don't know what my thoughts are about this. I have I have children, and I don't think them playing violent video games, makes them violent or not violent. I think what makes kids violent is a few things. Obviously, if there's something wrong with them mentally, um, I think it's their upbringing, their surroundings, what they're raised with, or or what they or the environment that they live in, not just being their house, but their neighborhood, their surrounding area. I think the media tends to try to find an answer when something violent happens. They pick up on one small thing. This guy, played video games, so oh my God, that's got to be the reason. Oh my God, he played Black Ops. Oh, that's it. He shot guns. This must be it. This is the reason why um, this guy did what he did. And I really think that's unfair, because what I feel, though, is if something else had been said in that article, if this man had, I don't know, if they saw that he watched the History Channel, only Civil War, what do you call it? My son watches it. I don't think he's going to get a tank and go blow up anybody. But that's what they would have blamed it on, is what I'm saying, is they picked up on one thing and they ran with it. And video games got like not too long ago, and I believe it was a big deal in the 90s, maybe, kids that committed suicide, and if they were listening to music, the music was blamed for the suicide, the lyrics in it, or and I'm just gonna be out there, and I'm gonna say it, and I probably shouldn't, and I might. You know what, parents, learn to parent. Be on top of your kids. You cannot you can't expect an Xbox or a PlayStation or a computer, for that matter, to babysit your children when you don't want to take the time for them. I understand that society's different. There are more people work and are out of the home today when their kids come home. Be involved in your child's life nonetheless. You know what? And if they don't like it, too fucking bad. I mean, how hard is it? You just, what, my kids are on my Facebook. I don't search through their Facebooks. I don't, they post stuff to me. They highlight my name. Um, I'm involved with their lives. I know I work in the gaming industry, but before I did at this level, I was always involved in their lives. I've made a point of, you know where they go, you know what they do, you know who they're hanging out with. They may roll their eyes and go, oh, jeez, mom, jeez, dad, you have to know everything. Yes, I do have to know everything. I need to know who you're with. And just, I think back to some of these stories where kids have gone and shot up schools, and the parents are so quick to blame everything else but themselves. No offense or anything, go to the source. There's, besides the fact if there's a mental illness, obviously, but that still should have been watched upon. I'm sorry if you're a parent and you cannot feel that, I honestly don't get it. I understand that there's parents that just don't give a shit. Those people probably shouldn't have been able to reproduce. There's so many people out there that want to have children that can't, and the ones that don't deserve them get to. But what I'm saying, though, is, if you're going to, if your kid gets an F on a report card and the entire semester he was playing on the Xbox or the PS3, and if you walked in and said, are you doing your homework? I will even admit, I've been guilty of doing this. Have you done your homework? Yeah, okay, and you walk away. You know what? Back that, let me see it. And nowadays, I know even at our school, I can log into a parent portal, and all the teachers have posted their homework. What's due that day, what they're working on, if they turned it in, and if they're missing assignments. I can see it every single class, and most schools have this system. If you don't log in, it's your own freaking fault. If your kid gets an F, yeah, you know what? That's your fault. You're the parent. Be a parent. You're going to blame video games for your kid shooting up a school or your kid committing suicide? Well, you know what? You need to turn around and take a look at yourself in the mirror. Where did you go wrong? Where were you not with your child? It pisses me off to no avail every time I read a story about how somebody's blaming video games for a horrible crime. It's a scapegoat. If, and especially, this woman knew that her son, the shooting with all the school children, which was horrible. But this woman knew that her son had issues, and she didn't tell anybody. She covered it up. She like it was an issue. I read an article right after it happened. It has been a while, so don't quote me on anything. But I just got the feeling of like she was almost ashamed of his condition. And so, obviously there was other things going on there, and they immediately went to video games, and that's, I think it's wrong. You know what? If you communicate, I work also at Best Buy in the gaming department, and I had a guy come up to me over Christmas, and we were having a conversation. He was looking at games to buy for his kids, and he goes, "Oh," and I picked up Harry Potter Legos, and he goes, "Oh, no, 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 I can't buy that." He goes, "There's actual witchcraft in there." And I looked at him and I was like, "Okay." And I'm not trying to make fun of him. I respect his decision not to buy it. But his eyes got really wide and he says, "I don't want my kids learning spells." And I'm like, I was thinking to myself, I really doubt that the kids are gonna like. It's a Lego game. My kids have it. They've played it. I've watched them play it numerous times. I don't think he's gonna learn any spells from that. But okay, so be it. But in the same note, for his older son, he had Black Ops 2. But he wouldn't get his kids Harry Potter Legos because there's real witchcraft in there. It's like, oh boy. I mean, where do you I've had people come in and I've looked at them. I always say this. I say, gaming is a huge part of our children's life. Technology is. Kids' brains don't work at the level that, if you're 40 something, 50 something, your children's brains work at a different level completely than ours did when we were their age because of what is around them. Smartphones. We didn't have smartphones. We yelled across the neighborhood when we wanted a friend. But um, Andy just said to me in channel he just didn't want to buy it. Um, Tell me what you're referring to, and then I can expand. I'm not quite sure because I've kind of touched base on a lot of things. Um, and so I don't want to I want to be able to converse with what you're talking about, Andy. So let me know what I had touched on that made you say that, so that we can expand on that. Um, but I tell a lot of parents, like my kids bring home a paper from school, and they got an A on it, and it goes up on the fridge. And in the same turn, I remember when my 16-year-old was then 15, and I hate to say it. Well, I don't know. No, there was a huge conversation about it. He just didn't say that and put it back. He went on to talk about other games, and he felt that witchcraft was a sin, and he went to get a little bit religious about it. It wasn't just that. There was a big conversation about it. And so I just thought it was ironic, though. In the other hand, he had Black Ops 2 for his older son. So the witchcraft bothered him, but the violence did not. So that's why I thought it was odd that, so there was a huge speech to me about witchcraft in games, and he went on to name quite a few of them that he felt were warping children's minds with the witchcraft that was put in them. So it wasn't just that he didn't want to buy the game. He was buying games that day, but every game that he bought other than Harry Potter Lego and a couple others were all violent games, gun shooting games. So, but back on what I was saying before, it's just like anything else. You need to be involved in your children's lives. And if gaming is a big part of their lives, my kids during the week, Monday through Thursday, or Sunday through Thursday, I should say, because Sunday night they have Monday school, um, they get to play on the Xbox for 2 hours, each of them. And that's it during the week. They have 2 hours. They can even do it after school. They can split it up, whatever. And maybe that's not a lot, but school's important to me. Academics are. People assume because I work in the gaming industry that my kids must game all the time. In the winter, on the weekends and stuff, it's a little different. I do let them game, especially like now they can't go outside. It's like, it's literally freezing temperature today. and there will be no outside. So I do let them go a little bit longer, or on the weekends. But you have to put limitations, and you have to be involved. My son, like I was saying, he when he was 15, he's a quick scoper. He came up to me and he says, "Mom, I just got my like 1800th headshot on, and it was Black Ops." And I was like, high fived him. "Good job, dude." He's like, "Here, come let me show you this." And he showed me his stats and everything. But he came to me because he knew that I was going to be excited over it. And I think that's something though. If a woman made a good point to me. Well, I already knew. She says, "My son really wants to play this game, Black Ops 2." I'm only saying it because I'm using examples that have happened to me at Best Buy. And she says, and I know all of his friends have it. And I didn't really want him to have it, but I also know that when he goes over to his friends' houses, he's going to play it. And she's like, "So I'm going to buy it." She goes, "But I don't know." It scared her more than it scared him. I says, "Well, be a part of it then." I says, "You may not have in the past." I says, "But," she goes, "Oh, he'd find that odd." I says, "Well, let him. You're the parent." I says, "But if you want to be involved with what he's doing and you want him to talk to you about the game so that, he understands that it's just a game or whatever, I says, be involved. Ask him questions. Oh, if you see him playing a game where they're around a flag, ask him what he's doing, what kind of objective is that, what's his role in the game." I said, because the more you incorporate yourselves and ask them questions, kids like that. They want to tell you what they're doing. They want you to be excited about what they're doing, even if it's playing a game. So, I feel that the media uses violence in video games as a scapegoat, when they can't, because God forbid we blame the parents. And you know what? And a lot of people don't like that, but that's the way I feel. Um, you are responsible for your child's actions, and you know, for example, for Columbine, and I'm very, the parents were quick to say that, "Oh, I had no idea." Well, but you should have. You should have had an idea. You should have, if you know your child. When my kid comes home from school, my kids have a particular way. They come home. My one son comes in, he always gives me a kiss, always, without fail. My other son comes in and he gives me, like knuckles. He's, "Hey, Mom, what's up?" And the day he doesn't do that, so I'll say to him, "What's wrong? What went on at school?" And if I see him get irritated at the fact that I've asked a question, I know something's up with him. I know my child. So, but that's what I'm saying. And I just think that when I read that, they want to tax video games for violence. Well, God, let's tax the news then. If we're going to tax video games for their M-rated games, let's tax the news every time they show a murder story and your kids are watching it. Or, every time they talk about a rape, let's tax it. Every time, that's why I know it's extreme, but that's what I'm saying. It's ridiculous. You can't blame violence in the world on video games. You can't. You can blame a lot of mental health issues, and you can blame parenting. The environment. You got to take a look at where they come from, what their lifestyle was. Just because somebody plays video games doesn't make them violent. Parents, be involved. It's kind of that simple. So that sin tax, I hope to God it does not go through. That'll be a sad day in gaming history if it does. And let me see. Moving on, what other news did I have? That was my big thing. Tomorrow. My one son, well, all my kids work for Rebel Gaming. Um, and tomorrow, we were very lucky this week to get in the new Metal Gear Rising. It's not my style of game, usually, I will say. This game changed my mind. The story in this one is really good. And the gameplay is fantastic. And I can't talk about it any more than that because I'm bound. by an NDA. So, but it is, it's fantastic. If there's anybody out there that has been waiting for this, it's worth the buy. And my son will be writing it up today after school, and it will be literally ready at 3 Eastern. The NDA lifts, and we will have it scheduled to go out then. So, so that's exciting. Also, big disappointment. I know that Barry, my wonderful Barry, our head writer, was so excited for months and months and months to be um, uh, the Colonel Marines, the Aliens game. He has waited, I think, since I've known him, since he started writing for Rebel. He has waited for this game to come out. I can't wait. I can't wait. Every time there was a preview of it, every time there was, and I'm just going to tell you that the title that he put on this review was Aliens Colonel Marines Review. No, you can't unplay it. And you know what, though? I knew before he put it out because there's a developer on my Facebook page that that had said that he played it, and it was the biggest disappointment. That so, and pretty much it's getting, except one place, one big website gave it a good review, and I hope to God it wasn't IGN because they suck at giving reviews. But it's pretty much just real quick reading in channel. I think parents ignore the age certificate on games, unlike movies. I mean, how many kids play Call of Duty? It's an 18. You're absolutely right, Andy. I agree. You know, if there's a rated movie, parents won't let their kids go see it. Or if they're almost of age, the parents will go with the kids to see it. And that's a good point that you make. So if, you know, but you'll find, and I'll give a good example. Search and Destroy, usually I play in the mornings. I'll play a few games before I get my day started. It is bombarded with like 9-year-olds. Search and Destroy. It blows me away. I'm like, why aren't you kids? It's like kids that must be homesick. And they're all at home and they're all playing. And I mute everybody. Usually when I play S&D, I always mute everybody. And but I'm always blown away when I hear them in there. And because you know what? If you're right, Andy, if you as a parent are gonna follow the ratings for movies and not let your kids watch a movie because it has a rating that suggests that they should not see it, then why are you buying these M-rated games for your children? Good point, Andy. Thank you very much for bringing that up. So, and now I lost complete track of what I was saying before. Oh, Aliens was a big disappointment. So if you're gonna, don't go out and buy it, people. It's Barry's very, explicit in his language in it because he was furious. He really has waited for years. Barry's so passionate about gaming and so passionate about certain games. And this one was, he waited. Like, it's kind of like the kid that says, I can't, I need my ball before I go home, and waits and waits and waits for his ball. Or, this was Barry. He's just waited for this game for so long, and he was so disappointed by it. And I almost feel bad for him. So there is actually, I just put a link up in the channel for the review. So if anybody wants to take a look at that. Sad that it was such a, it was another Duke Nukem fail, I guess. And as well, one of Barry's other favorite game is Dead Space 3. And I, he gives it a good review, but I thought it would have been a bit bigger. I'm going to admit I didn't go into detail reading it. I kind of skimmed through it this morning because I read his other review really quick before I started, and I have 3 kids to get out the door in the morning, so he calls it a stunning game, Dead Space 3. He said the graphics are great. He really I'm trying to, it's a big review. Holy shit, Barry. Like, I hope he's listening to this right now because he really hits on everything. He says that his only complaint with the game is the new puzzle aspect of the game. And he said, yes, it adds yet another level of gameplay to the title, but it can at times really stop the flow of the game in its tracks. So some people I read were fans of that and said that's what I was looking for. And some people were not. And Barry was not a big fan of that. So the Dead Space 3 as well review is up, and that was written by Barry, our head writer here at Rebel. So if you want to take a look at that as well, I just put the link up for that in channel as well. And I'll add these, when I upload this to YouTube, I will add the links in there for them as well. So let me see, moving on, trying to touch on some other, pretty much, I hate to say it though, like all of the news this morning is either still THQ, and I think I had already said this last week though, Take-Two got WWE, um, and that's, that's pretty much it. It was sad though, I was reading that the stock that the CEO sold off, he only sold it, he only got $3,000 for it, which is quite sad. I did like THQ. Sad to see them go. But sad to see that Darksiders still has not officially been announced picked up. So I'm still waiting for that. I'd hate to see that go. The other news today, I'm just skimming over it. Not so big news. Activision CEO Eric Hirschberg believes esports could be a big part of gaming. Well, we know that with Black Ops 2 came out. And oh, but also though, something I was reading about, and I actually went and liked them on Facebook and was surprised because they just started the Facebook page. They have 74,000 likes already on this page. Activision and Bungie have teamed up for a game. It's Destiny. I believe that is the name of it. Yes, Destiny, Pathways Out of Darkness. They have on Forbes. Yes, that's where I read all my gaming news at. Forbes has quite a nice story about it up, and I have to say the trailer's pretty good. In reading it, it reminded me of like I don't know, like a virtual world that you can live in and build in, and I think he described it as you could be in your story mode and still run into other people during their story mode. So that would be quite interesting. Something else, a new game to look forward to. Hopefully it will be a big one, something new, because, there's not a whole lot of new out there right now. A lot of studios are doing the same thing over, kind of like in movies. They've been doing remakes lately, and that's pretty much it. So, I guess that was pretty much all the news I really wanted to talk about today. Tonight, hopefully, if I can get my ass up and on here, we will be doing Rebel Live, the regular hour and a half-ish show. Hopefully I will have some people on, like usual, talking with me. Maybe touching base on some of the things we talked about today, going into a little bit more detail with them. I like to keep the morning show short and sweet. And I guess that's about it. Thank you for joining me in chat. Thank you, Andy, for being so interactive. I appreciate it. And we will see you guys tomorrow morning. Every morning I'm here. If there's something specific you'd like to talk about on the YouTube page, it's Reb Gaming as well, youtube.com/Reb Gaming. Leave a comment down there. I check them every day just to see if there's something anybody particularly want to talk about today. Maybe we didn't get to, we can talk about tomorrow. So everybody have a good day.